How's it going, everybody? My name's Abram with Travel Cheaper, and in this video I'm going to be talking about the Chase Sapphire Preferred credit card. I've got it right here. I've had the card for a little less than a year now, and in this video I'm going to be talking about how much value I was able to get out of the card in the first year after getting the bonus and all the spend and using some of the perks. I'm going to be going into exactly how I was able to get that value and where I made my redemptions. And at the end of the video, I'm going to be talking about how much value you could potentially get from this card if you were to get it now with the current offer being offered from Chase in 2024. So with that, let's jump into it. So I'm not going to bury the lead here. I'm just going to come right out and tell you that over the course of the first year, I was able to get over $1,700 worth of value from this card in the first year. We're talking about a card with a $95 annual fee, and I was able to get over $1,700 worth of travel credit, travel perks, redemptions, whatever you want to call it. That is honestly crazy. That should be shocking to you. It was shocking to me when I actually went through and added everything up to see how much I had gotten. And this is something that a normal person can do. I didn't do anything crazy. I didn't have really high levels of spend to rack up a bunch of points. I didn't search really hard for really good redemptions or anything like that. This is something that is very attainable for other people out there. So I'm just going to go through and share how I did that. So in order to get that over $1,700 worth of value, I racked up on this card in the first year 108,224 points. And at first that sounds like a lot of spending, but it wasn't. At the time that I got this card, it was offering an 80,000 point bonus with $4,000 worth of spend in the first 4 months. So it's a little better than the bonus that are being offered right now, but still you can get pretty good bonuses these days. So that's 80,000 points right off the bat. I was able to meet that spend and get those points. And then over the course of the first year, I spent a little less than $9,000 on this card, which works out to less than $750 a month. So we're really not talking about high levels of spend here in order to get that value. And then the other way I was able to get points was Chase offers a service where if you refer someone to the card and they are approved for it, then you get a 15,000 point bonus. So I utilized that and referred it to a friend, so I got an additional 15,000 points for that, which adds up to that total 108,224 points that I mentioned earlier. So now, how was I able to convert that 108,000 points to travel credit and the value of over $1,700? Well, it's really pretty simple. For those of you that don't know, Chase Sapphire Preferred, if you get that card, Chase allows you to book flights and hotels and things like that through the Chase travel portal. And if you do that, you get a value of 1.25 cents per point for that. And that is honestly how I used most of my points to get the vast majority of this value. I booked a round trip ticket for my wife to Atlanta. I used up 41,792 points doing that. It would have cost $522 if I had booked it with cash. I booked a round trip ticket for my wife to Jacksonville. It cost me 39,072 points, and if I had booked with cash, it would have cost me $489. And then the rest of the value, that's most of it right there, but the rest of it I used by transferring points to one of Chase's travel partners, which is Hyatt. And I used the remainder of my points for a few hotel stays at Hyatt, and you're actually able to get really good redemptions just easily with Hyatt. So they're actually one of my favorite transfer partners because of the value you're able to get. But I stayed a 2-night stay at a Hyatt hotel, and that cost me 11,000 points. It would have cost $356 if I would have booked with cash. I stayed another 1-night stay, cost me 8,000 points. It would have cost $159 had I booked with cash. And then I stayed one more night, cost 6,500 points, and it would have cost $136 had I booked with cash. So all those, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different redemptions. It cost me 106,000 points, a little over, and that is $1,662 worth of value that it would have cost me if I would have had to book with cash for those same redemptions. And then I get to over $1,700 because one of the perks of the Chase Sapphire Preferred you get every year is a $50 hotel credit, where if you book a hotel through the Chase travel portal, you can get basically $50 back to you just as a perk of having the card. So that got me from $1,662 to $1,712 for the amount of value I was able to get from this card. So I didn't do anything super complicated. I didn't do anything tricky. Most of it was just basically booking through the Chase travel portal, which is just like any other travel portal if you booked on Kayak or Capital One or anything like that. And I was able to get over $1,700 worth of value. I was able to do a bunch of stuff. My wife was able to do a bunch of stuff. We were able to stay at nicer places than we would have stayed at if we would have had to pay for it cash, we basically got most of that stuff for absolutely free. So the last thing in this video I'm going to talk about is how much value you could potentially get from getting this card if you got it as it stands right now in 2024. So the current bonus being offered right now by Chase is 60,000 points after $4,000 worth of spend in the first 4 months. So a little less than the 80,000 point bonus being offered when I got the card. You could always potentially wait and maybe that will come around again, but there's no guarantee of that. It's been quite a while since that 80,000 point bonus was offered. So as it stands now, there's a 60,000 point bonus being offered. And let's say you meet that minimum spend, and I'm just gonna assume for the sake of calculation that you get an average of 1.5 points per dollar. There's a bunch of different point earning categories with different types of purchases for this card. But let's just assume you end up with around 1.5 cents per dollar in points earned. So after that $4,000 spend, you get an additional 6,000 points from your spending on the card. So that would bring you to a grand total of 66,000 points. And that's if you didn't spend another dollar after the $4,000 minimum spend requirement in order to get the sign-up bonus. So if you got that 66,000 points and you used it through the Chase travel portal, you'd get 1.25 cents per point, and that would bring you to a total value in travel redemptions that you could get from those points to $825, and then you add the $50 hotel credit that you also get just as a perk of having the card, and that would bring you to $875. And yes, that's a lot less than the $1,700 that I got, but again, this isn't your max potential you could get from this card. That's like the bare minimum based on the current bonus being offered. If you put more spend on the card, you'd get more points, you'd have more value in redemptions. If you referred friends on the card, you get 15,000 points per friend referred, up to 60,000 points, I believe it is. So there's a whole bunch more potential value there. And then there's also ways that you can get more value for your points that you earned, that you could also get additional value, such as using transfer partners like Hyatt, like I did. You can potentially get a lot better redemptions. So again, 875 is basically the minimum value that you would get if you got the card as it stands right now with the current bonus and met the minimum spend. So that's still a lot of money. And you're probably going to put more spend on it. You're probably going to talk about it and refer some of your friends to it. And I would be surprised if you didn't end up getting a lot more value than that. But even if you didn't, $875, subtract the $95 annual fee, and we're talking about $780 worth of value just for free for getting the card. You don't really have to do anything. It's free travel. What are you waiting for? I mean, seriously, I do so much more travel than I would have done because I use all these credit card perks, and that's why I make these videos, because it's hard for me to believe that I can get all this stuff for free, and I just want to share it with people. So yeah, that's going to wrap it up for this video. Hopefully I was able to provide some value to you guys. Hopefully you learned some things from this. If I did, or if it was just entertaining even, please leave a like. That actually helps my videos and my channel out a whole bunch, so I'd really appreciate it if you did that. And if you want to see more videos like this in the future, I'm going to be going on a trip to Tahiti next month that I booked almost entirely using points, so I'm going to have a video next month about how I was able to do that. So if that kind of thing is interesting to you, please subscribe to my channel. That also helps us out a lot. And also, I will be putting my referral code for the Chase Sapphire Preferred in the description. If you're going to be getting the card and you don't have a friend or family member that you can use their referral code, consider using mine. That's another great way to support the channel that doesn't cost you anything, so it's kind of a win-win for everybody. So that's basically it. Tune in next time for more credit card or travel hacking videos, and I'll see you then.